That community that has been circling around you, throwing doubts, judgments, whispers, and cold stares. They have been trying to dim your light, yet they do not realize that every attack, every word spoken in malice, every effort to push you down, is shaping a stage for your rise. They do not see that the more they push, the higher you ascend. The more they doubt, the more you are chosen. TMH has placed his hand upon you in ways they cannot comprehend. You have been anointed not because you asked for it, not because you begged for attention, not because the world was ready, but because the divine does not wait for permission. You are walking in destiny that was written long before their opinions, their ridicule, their fear could touch you. And today, the world, starting with that community that has tried to contain you, is being forced to witness something it has never seen before. It begins with a stillness within, the quiet whispers of your spirit that no one hears, the late nights when your heart is heavy and your mind wrestles with doubt. These moments are the proving grounds of your anointing. Each tear that falls, each sleepless night, each battle within yourself is evidence that the hand of TMH is on you. They see the surface. They see what they want to believe, that you are fragile, that you will break, that you will settle. But they do not see the unseen. They do not see the moments when you pray with your entire being, the moments when you make sacrifices silently, the moments when you rise even when the world is trying to chain you. They cannot see what the divine sees. They cannot perceive the power that is forming within you. There is a certain beauty in being misunderstood, in being judged, in being resisted. For what is resistance but proof that you are moving toward a territory they cannot enter? For what is opposition but confirmation that you are walking a path reserved for the chosen? Every time they speak, it is a reminder of your uniqueness. Every time they try to define you, it is a confirmation that you cannot be defined. Every attempt to stop you is a declaration that what you carry is not ordinary. TMH is not a respecter of human opinion. He is a magnifier of destiny. He does not just lift you above the crowd. He positions you in a place where your rise is undeniable, where your presence becomes unavoidable, where even those who doubted cannot look away. You may feel weary. You may feel drained. The attacks may have made you question your value, made you second-guess your purpose, made you wonder if the journey is too heavy to carry. But in those moments of despair, you must remember that your endurance is your evidence. Your persistence is your witness. The very fact that you continue, that you rise after every fall, that you keep walking when the world has built walls in your path, is proof that TMH is training you, strengthening you, marking you for something greater than comfort, greater than acceptance, greater than human recognition. You are being prepared for a stage so high that those who tried to diminish you will have no choice but to acknowledge the light that was in you all along. It is easy to be swayed by the noise of the world. It is easy to let their words, their laughter, their assumptions make you shrink. But let me remind you, those who attack you are not seeing your full reflection. They are seeing a shadow of doubt projected by their own limitations. They cannot see your clarity because their eyes are clouded by fear. They cannot feel your power because they are tethered to disbelief. But you are untouchable in your anointing. You are shielded by a force greater than human understanding. You are moving in a favor that no weapon formed against you can withstand, a wisdom that no argument can overturn, a presence that cannot be silenced. And that is why, when the time comes, they will be forced to see it. They will be forced to witness the manifestation of a calling that was beyond their comprehension. Think about the moments they laughed at your dreams, the times they mocked your vision, the nights they whispered that you would never rise. Every one of those moments is now fuel. Every doubt, every insult, every cold shoulder is now fuel for your ascent. They have built walls, and yet every wall is teaching you the art of breaking through. Every obstacle is training you in resilience. Every scorn is engraving a strength into your soul that no cheer, no comfort, no false praise could ever give. TMH is not making you strong in a way that the world understands. He is making you unstoppable in a way that the world cannot ignore. Do not mistake this anointing for popularity, for applause, or for immediate recognition. Anointing is deeper than approval. It is invisible until it becomes undeniable. It is a fire that burns quietly until it becomes a blaze. It is a seed planted in soil too rich for human vision, and it grows in ways that defy logic, that challenge expectation, that make the impossible inevitable. And the community that thought they could stop you will find themselves staring at a force they cannot question, a presence they cannot diminish, a journey they cannot derail. TMH does not create delays by mistake. He does not allow opposition without reason. Everything has a timeline, and your timeline is unstoppable. If you are listening to this, I want you to take a deep breath and understand the truth. What they say about you, what they attempt to control about you, cannot alter what TMH has ordained. Your value, your purpose, your destiny is untouched by their disbelief. They cannot corrupt it, they cannot weaken it, and they cannot steal it. What they try to take from you is already protected, already invested, already destined to manifest. They are witnesses in training, being forced to see the anointing that they ignored. And while their eyes were closed, you were rising quietly, unseen, unshaken, undefeated. I know some of you watching right now feel the weight of loneliness. I know you feel the ache of being surrounded by people who cannot celebrate your wins, who cannot understand your moves, who cannot see the divine favor on you. But here is the secret. TMH has placed you where you belong, even if no one else can see it yet. And when the world finally catches a glimpse of your ascent, it will not be because of them opening their eyes willingly. It will be because the hand of God has moved on your life in ways too spectacular for denial. They will not have a choice but to recognize your path. They will not be able to dispute the power you carry. They will not be able to unsee what has been forged in you through trials, through prayers, through perseverance. Now, I want to pause for a moment and speak to those who feel discouraged about sharing their journey. If you have been inspired by this message, if your spirit is waking up to the power that has always been inside you, then take a moment to engage. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, share your story, and subscribe for more messages that lift, challenge, and remind you of the anointing you carry. Your engagement is not just a click, it is a declaration that you are aligned with destiny, that you are refusing to hide, that you are standing in truth while the world tries to whisper doubt. Your words may ignite someone else who feels unseen, unheard, underestimated, and this ripple cannot be stopped. And for those who are already walking the path of resistance, remember this: do not be discouraged by those who fail to recognize your power. TMH sees your every step. He acknowledges your courage. He magnifies your efforts. When they mock, when they doubt, when they try to control or belittle, remember that every reaction from them is a reflection of your elevation. Keep moving, keep trusting, keep standing, because the day comes when your life becomes a testimony too vivid to ignore, a display too powerful to deny, and a reality too undeniable for any opposition to contain. You may not realize it yet, but every challenge you face, every moment of resistance, every hand that pushes you down is preparing you for a level of power and influence you cannot yet imagine. There is a strange beauty in this struggle, because it is proving to you and to the world that what they thought could break you will only make you stronger. They see weakness, they see struggle, they see moments when you hesitate, and yet they cannot see the quiet determination that rises within you, the strength that does not announce itself, the power that moves silently but effectively. TMH is shaping you in ways that defy human measurement, planting a fire in your soul that no ridicule, no attack, no doubt can ever extinguish. Some days, it may feel as if the world itself is against you. The community that surrounds you may appear relentless, as if their collective energy is designed solely to stop your progress, to make you question every decision, to make you feel small and unworthy. And yet, this is the very thing that confirms your anointing. For the divine does not anoint the ordinary. He does not place the hand of power on those whose path is easy, whose journey is accepted without question. The anointed walk paths of resistance, and in that resistance, they discover a power that cannot be faked, cannot be replicated, cannot be borrowed. Every attack, every attempt to stop you, every moment of judgment is training you, sharpening you, and making your rise inevitable. It is not for them to understand your journey, your vision, or your destiny. Let them whisper, let them doubt, let them judge. Their disbelief does not alter the plan, does not diminish your power, does not weaken your calling. Their attacks are temporary. Their resistance is fleeting. Your anointing is eternal. You are moving in a force that no human logic can touch, a force that grows stronger with every attempt to contain it. And while they try to confine you within their narrow vision of what is possible, TMH is expanding you in ways they cannot perceive, giving you wisdom they cannot grasp, and courage they cannot imagine. There will be moments when you feel invisible, when it seems as though nothing is happening, when the silence of the world is deafening. These are the moments that matter most. For it is in the silence that the divine works most powerfully. It is in the unseen moments that your foundation is laid, your character is forged, and your purpose is clarified. Do not be distracted by the noise of impatience, by the longing for immediate recognition, or by the false approval of those who do not understand your calling. What TMH has placed on you does not require human validation to flourish. It only requires your faith, your persistence, and your refusal to be shaken by temporary opposition. And know this, the community that has tried to stop you will be forced to see what they ignored. They will witness the manifestation of your anointing, not because they were open to seeing it, but because the hand of God will make it impossible to ignore. They will watch you rise in ways they cannot explain, achieve victories they cannot dispute, and walk in favor that they cannot deny. Their disbelief, their doubt, their judgment will be powerless in the face of a life that has been consecrated, chosen, and appointed. And when that day comes, they will not only see your success, they will feel the weight of every word they spoke against you, every attempt they made to limit you, and every disbelief they tried to enforce. It will be undeniable, irrefutable, and permanent. This anointing does not come with guarantees of ease, comfort, or applause. It comes with challenges that test every part of your being, your patience, your courage, your faith, your integrity. And yet, these challenges are proof that you are walking a path reserved for the chosen, a journey that requires strength that ordinary circumstances could never produce. Every difficulty you face, every trial you endure, is evidence that TMH is preparing you for a life of purpose that cannot be replicated. You are being elevated in a way that requires you to grow, to adapt, to refine, and to become more than you ever thought possible. Some of you may feel isolated. You may feel that no one sees your struggle or understands your journey. But remember, You are never truly alone. The presence of TMH is constant. His power is unmatched. His plan for your life is flawless. Every moment of doubt, every whispered attack, every attempt to diminish your worth is a part of the process, a part of the preparation for a rise so dramatic that those who tried to stop you will have no choice but to recognize it. They cannot stop what has been appointed. They cannot reverse what has been anointed. They cannot dim the light that has been set upon you. It is natural to feel the sting of their disbelief, the frustration of their rejection, the pain of their judgment. But let those feelings remind you not of your weakness, but of your strength. For if the world were easily won, if success was simple, if favor came without resistance, then your anointing would have no meaning. It is precisely because of opposition, because of the attempts to hold you down, that your rise will carry weight. Your journey will be a testimony that power, favor, and destiny cannot be stopped when the divine hand moves. Every setback is temporary. Every criticism is fleeting. But the anointing on your life is eternal. I want you to imagine the moment when that community, the ones who doubted you, mocked your dreams, questioned your potential, finally realizes that nothing they did could stop you. Imagine the faces, the expressions, the quiet acknowledgement that you are never to be contained, never to be limited, never to be silenced. This is not a fantasy. It is not a dream. It is a promise, and it is closer than you think. TMH is moving on your behalf, preparing you, positioning you, guiding you, and protecting you. What they tried to prevent is now unstoppable. What they ignored is now unavoidable, and what they doubted is now undeniable. Now take a moment to feel the weight of this truth. You are anointed, you are chosen, you are set apart, and there is no force on earth, no opinion, no whisper, no resistance that can reverse what has been appointed. Let that sink into your soul. Let it ignite a fire in your heart. Let it remind you that everything they have tried to do to stop you has been part of the process of preparing you for greatness, for impact, for influence that cannot be denied. And if this message is resonating with you, I want you to take a small but powerful action. Like, comment, and subscribe. Not because I asked, but because your engagement is an act of declaration. When you comment, you are saying, I recognize my anointing. I refuse to be hidden. I refuse to be silenced. When you subscribe, you are committing to a journey of growth, strength, and perseverance, allowing yourself to be reminded daily that your destiny cannot be stopped. And when you share, you extend this truth to someone else who may feel unseen, unheard, or underestimated. Your action may awaken courage in another soul, and together you become a wave too powerful to ignore. Continue to rise, continue to trust, continue to move, even when the path is hard. Do not let temporary opposition define your reality. TMH is moving. TMH is positioning. TMH is empowering. And the very community that has tried to stop you will be forced to acknowledge what they once dismissed. They will have no choice but to witness the magnitude of what has been placed in your hands. And in that moment, it will not be about revenge or proof. It will be about recognition of the truth that was always present, a truth that their disbelief could never erase. There will come a day that begins like any other, yet ends with a truth so undeniable that the world around you cannot ignore it. The community that has tried to contain you, that has whispered their doubts, that has underestimated you at every turn, will have no choice but to acknowledge what TMH has placed in your life. They will witness your strength, not because they suddenly believed in you, but because The divine power upon your life cannot be hidden, cannot be delayed, cannot be silenced. Every step you take, every victory you achieve, every moment you rise despite opposition will serve as undeniable evidence of the favor, the guidance, and the anointing that rests upon you. The journey has not been easy, and it will not be easy. Those who have tried to stop you will continue to test you, to doubt you, to push against you. But remember this: every test, every challenge, every attempt to hold you down is a confirmation of your purpose. TMH does not allow opposition without reason. Every trial is strategic. Every resistance is deliberate. Every obstacle is designed to mold you, to prepare you, to strengthen you, and to elevate you. What feels like struggle is actually strategy. What feels like attack is actually instruction. What feels like delay is actually preparation for a rise so monumental that disbelief cannot stand in its way. Understand that your anointing is not dependent on applause, on approval, or on recognition from those who cannot see your worth. It is dependent on faith, persistence, and alignment with the force that moves invisibly yet powerfully in your life. The hand of TMH upon you is not casual. It is not superficial. It is not fleeting. It is enduring. It is intentional. It is unwavering. And because of this, nothing, no one, no attack, no whisper, no force can alter what has been ordained. Even when the world looks like it is winning, even when the community that tried to stop you seems stronger, even when the doubts within yourself rise to the surface, remember this: you are chosen, you are set apart, and you are unstoppable. Your rise will not be immediate, nor will it always be visible. It will often be silent, subtle, hidden from the eyes of those who judge. Yet every step will be advancing you closer to your destiny. They may mock, they may scoff, they may even despair in their attempts to hold you back, but every effort they make is simply another confirmation of the inevitability of your success. Opposition, resistance, and disbelief are the shadows that define the light you carry. The greater the darkness, the brighter the anointing will shine. And when that light bursts forth, it will be undeniable, overwhelming, and transformative, not only for you, but for all who witness it. Do not let impatience or frustration cloud your vision. Do not let their disbelief plant seeds of doubt within your soul. Every moment is part of a divine timing that is orchestrated far beyond human understanding. You are moving in a timeline that cannot be rushed, a destiny that cannot be delayed, a favor that cannot be withdrawn. The community that has tried to stop you will eventually see it, not because they change, but because the power upon your life will not allow them to remain blind. What was once invisible to them will become unavoidable. What was once dismissed will become undeniable. What was once doubted will become a truth they cannot escape. Every challenge you face now is a preparation for the moment of witnessing. Every whispered doubt, every judgmental glance, every attempt to stop you is a rehearsal for the undeniable demonstration of your anointing. They will be forced to see it, forced to acknowledge it, forced to reckon with it, because the force moving through you is unstoppable, because the hand of TMH does not fail, because your destiny cannot be denied. And in that moment, their disbelief will be meaningless, their opposition will be powerless, and their resistance will be irrelevant. Ladies and gentlemen, gather around, because today we're going to talk about something they never saw coming. Something so profoundly chilling that even the most twisted of minds would be taken aback. You see, they thought disrespect was their weapon, their tool to wield power, their way to chip away at who you are, who you could be, and who you had the potential to become. They thought you were just another casualty in their battle to assert dominance, a pawn in a game they believed was theirs to win. But they were wrong. So wrong. They never realized that every word they spoke in disdain, every look of judgment, every slide and cut to your spirit, every effort they made to break you, was not a step toward victory for them, but a step toward their ultimate defeat. They thought they could control you, manipulate you, belittle you, and that you would cower under their power. They believed that in making you feel small, they could make themselves feel tall. But they never understood the power of silence. For silence, my friends, is not a weakness. It is a weapon far more dangerous than words, more cutting than insults, and more chilling than any act of aggression. The silence you now carry with you, the one they pushed you into, is the quiet before the storm. It is a silence they will never understand, because they have mistaken it for something they can break. They've been reckless with their words, blind to the consequences of their actions. And now, in the cold, unyielding quiet, they will find their mistake. What they failed to see, and perhaps never will, is that silence is a reflection of your power, not your passivity. It's a deliberate, calculated decision. It's the calm after the storm, the moment you gather yourself and decide, for once and for all, that their disrespect does not deserve a response. It is a response in itself, a declaration that you are not bound by their opinions, their criticisms, or their need to drag you down to their level. When they disrespected you, they thought they were imposing their superiority over you, diminishing your worth, and making you doubt your own existence. But what they never accounted for was your strength, the strength that is born not out of loud proclamations, but in the quiet resolve of knowing your value, of standing in your truth, and of refusing to let anyone define you. They didn't realize that their words were simply the catalyst for your metamorphosis, pushing you into the silence where your power thrives. Now, in this silence, you are free. Free from their opinions, free from their judgments, free from the toxic noise of their manipulation. They have no power over you anymore, for you've taken that power back. And while they may wonder why you no longer engage with them, why you no longer react, they will never fully comprehend that it is not because you've given up, it is because you've chosen to rise above. They thought your silence was defeat, but in truth, it was your victory. They thought it was weakness, but in reality, it was your strength. Because you see, the silence you've chosen is not passive. It is not a retreat into a dark corner, a surrender to their cruelty. No, it is a retreat into your own mind, a sanctuary of self-respect, a safe space where you are not subject to their whims. It is the moment you have removed yourself from their chaotic, judgmental world, the moment you decided you would not engage with their negativity any longer. They thought they were breaking you, but what they never understood was that they were only forcing you to rebuild yourself. And now, as you stand in your silence, you stand in your power. They failed to break you. They failed to even make a dent in your armor. They've done nothing but illuminate their own insecurities, their own fears, and their own lack of understanding. They thought disrespecting you would make you crumble, but instead, it made you rise higher. Higher than they ever imagined you could go. Higher than they ever wanted you to go. They thought they could steal your voice, but all they did was give you the space to find your own. You no longer need their approval, their validation, or their recognition. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. You know the worth that they could never see, the depth of your strength they could never comprehend. Their insults, their jeers, their slights, none of it matters anymore because it no longer has the power to affect you. The only thing that matters is your peace, your sense of self, and the quiet strength you've cultivated within. Now, they are left in their own confusion, their own frustration. They were expecting a response, a fight, a challenge. They wanted you to come down to their level, to engage in their petty games, but you did not. You refused to be a part of their drama, their toxic cycles, and now they wonder why you no longer speak, why you no longer play the role they had assigned to you in their twisted narrative. They will never understand that your silence is your power, that your silence is your statement, and that in their inability to provoke you, they have revealed their own weakness. They've exposed the truth of who they are: small, insecure, fragile, and desperate for control. But they will never see the truth of who you are. They will never see the quiet warrior, the person who, though silent, is stronger than they ever were. They will never realize that their disrespect has only served to sharpen your resolve. It has only made you more determined to keep your peace, to guard your energy, and to rise above the noise. The silence you've embraced is not a void. It is a powerful force. It is the space where you have reclaimed your self-worth, where you have built your boundaries, and where you have rediscovered your own sense of purpose. It is the moment where you have let go of their need to define you and embraced your own ability to define yourself. And in that space, you are unbreakable. You are unstoppable. You are your own force to be reckoned with. They thought they could push you, prod you, provoke you, and that eventually you would break. But you never did. You just got stronger, more focused, more determined. And now, they are left with nothing but the silence they never understood. And in that silence, you have won. You have taken back everything they tried to take from you and more. They thought they could leave you in despair, but all they did was give you the strength to silence their voices and the freedom to move forward without them. So let them wonder, let them question, let them try to make sense of your silence, because the truth is, they will never understand it. They will never understand that disrespecting you only led them to your permanent silence, a silence that speaks louder than any word ever could. And in that silence, you have found your peace. In that silence, you have found your strength. In that silence, you have found yourself. The silence they never saw coming has become your greatest triumph. It is the final word in a battle they never understood. It is the victory they will never claim, because they never realized that silence is not absence. It is presence. It is power. And now, as they stand in the empty space they created with their disrespect, they are forced to face the truth they will never be able to ignore. The truth that you are beyond their reach, beyond their control, and beyond their understanding. And that, my friends, is the power of silence. You see, when they disrespected you, they thought it would break you. They thought their actions, words, and manipulation could shatter your spirit, like glass dropped on concrete. But they had no idea that you were forged from something stronger. You were not fragile, not brittle. Your silence is not a void of weakness, but rather a force of composure and clarity. Every time they pushed you, every time they tried to knock you down, you only stood firmer, more resolute in your understanding of who you are and who you were becoming. They thought they could wear you down, but they didn't understand that you were never meant to be worn down. You were meant to be refined, tempered, like steel in a forge. They didn't see that each moment of disrespect, each time they tried to tear you down, you were only growing stronger. You were only learning to protect yourself. You were learning how to close off from the toxicity, how to put up walls that would not make you hard, but rather create boundaries. Because you see, silence is not just the absence of sound, it's the presence of something far more significant. It's the presence of self-preservation, of boundaries that protect what is sacred, what is vulnerable, what is untouchable in you. The moment they disrespected you, they crossed a line. And instead of breaking, you retreated into that silence, into that protective space where you could rebuild, refocus, and strengthen yourself. And the beauty of that silence, the true power of it, is that it requires no validation. You don't need anyone's permission to be silent, to choose your peace. They never thought you would have the willpower to step away from the chaos they created. They thought you would react, you would lash out, you would fight back with fire, anger, and revenge. But no, you didn't. You simply chose to protect your energy, to protect your peace, and to stop engaging in their petty game. They didn't realize that by trying to control you, by attempting to provoke you, they were only empowering you. Their disrespect forced you to see just how much you could endure, how much strength you had within, and that strength grew in ways they could never have anticipated. The silence you carry now is not just the absence of noise. It is a reflection of your sovereignty. It is the acknowledgement that you are no longer beholden to anyone else's opinion or approval. You stand alone, powerful in your solitude, because you have learned that true strength is not in the noise, not in the endless back and forth, not in the toxic drama. True strength lies in knowing when to step away, knowing when to retreat, and knowing when to stop giving your power away. You have recognized that the most powerful response you can give them is nothing at all. You are silent because you know the truth, and the truth needs no defense. The truth of who you are, who you've become, is evident in the fact that you no longer seek validation from those who would never understand your worth. You don't need them. You never needed them. They thought that by disrespecting you, they could somehow reduce your value, but in reality, they only made it more evident to you. The fact that they tried to break you, the fact that they thought you would crumble, is proof of just how weak their understanding of strength really is. They thought they were cutting you down, but all they did was expose their own inability to recognize true power. Power isn't about being loud, being dominant, or putting others down. True power is quiet, it's composed, and it's centered in self-understanding. True power is knowing exactly who you are and who you aren't, and standing firm in that truth, no matter what anyone else tries to say. They thought their disrespect was a weapon, a way to keep you in line. But weapons only have power if you allow them to. The moment you decided to silence their voices in your life, you took the power back. You were no longer a victim of their words, their actions, or their manipulation. You became the author of your own story, and you chose silence as your weapon, as your shield. And in that silence, you found your voice. Not the voice they tried to take from you, not the voice that would respond to their petty games, but the voice that speaks with clarity and purpose. The voice that speaks when you choose to speak and remains silent when you know that silence is the answer. Now they wonder, don't they? They wonder why you no longer react. They wonder why you no longer engage. They thought they could drag you down to their level and play their game. But what they never understood is that you don't have to play by their rules. You've set your own rules. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them an emotional outburst, a dramatic response. You don't owe them anything. You owe it to yourself to stay true to who you are, to preserve your peace, and to stand in your own power, silently, unshakably. The truth is, the disrespect they showed you was not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of theirs. It was their way of projecting their insecurities, their fears, and their inadequacies onto you. But you are no longer a mirror to their faults. You are a mirror to your own strength, your own growth, and your own evolution. They thought they could make you doubt yourself, make you feel less than. But the only thing they succeeded in was making you realize how much more powerful, more grounded, and more resilient you are than they ever imagined. And so now, in this silence, you are not empty. You are full. Full of your own potential full of your own purpose and full of your own truth. The silence you carry is a reflection of your growth, of your ability to let go of the noise and focus on what truly matters. It is a declaration that you will no longer allow the toxicity of others to define you. You have chosen peace. You have chosen to take control of your energy and protect it from those who would seek to drain it. You have chosen silence as your sanctuary. They may never understand this, and frankly, they don't need to. The silence you've created in your life isn't for them, it's for you. It's a space where you can breathe, where you can heal, where you can rebuild your soul without the noise of their cruelty echoing in your mind. It is a space where you can reflect on your worth, rediscover your strength, and move forward without the weight of their disrespect hanging over you. And it is in that silence, that space of inner peace, where you will continue to grow, continue to rise, and continue to evolve into the person they never wanted you to become. Their disrespect was nothing more than the catalyst that pushed you to your greatness. They never realized that by disrespecting you, they were setting the stage for your transformation. They thought they could break you, but they never knew they were only making you more powerful, more resilient, and more determined to succeed. They thought they were stealing your voice, but in truth, they only gave you the space to find it, to strengthen it, and to make it more formidable than ever. Now, as you continue on your journey, don't look back. Don't waste another thought on those who tried to disrespect you, who tried to tear you down. They are insignificant in your story now. They are nothing but background noise in the symphony of your life. They are a chapter that is closed, and your book continues without them. And as you move forward in silence, remember that silence is not your weakness. It is your power. It is the most profound statement you could ever make, that you are no longer defined by their cruelty, their disrespect, or their attempts to control you. You are defined by your silence, by your strength, and by your unwavering belief in your own worth. When they first disrespected you, they were not just disrespecting you in that moment. They were disrespecting everything you had fought for, everything you had endured, everything you had become. They didn't realize that in their attempts to break you down, they were actually feeding the fire inside you, the fire of self-respect, of self-worth, of a soul too strong to be rattled by their petty cruelties. They thought they could diminish your light, but in doing so, they only made it burn brighter. You see, they never understood that silence is not simply the absence of sound. It is the absence of their control over you. It is the absence of their influence in your life. Silence is your escape from their attempts to manipulate you, to make you conform to their whims, to make you feel small in a world that is large enough for you to take up space. It is the ultimate act of freedom, the freedom to walk away, to disengage, to stop giving your energy to people who will only use it to try and diminish you. Think of it. The loudest thing in the room is often the silence. When people can no longer provoke you, when they can no longer get under your skin, when they realize that no matter how much they shout, how much they insult, how much they manipulate, you will not respond. That silence is deafening, and that silence is your declaration of power. Because it says, I do not need to justify myself to you. I do not need to explain myself to anyone. I know who I am, and I will not let you define me. They believed they could win by making you angry. They believed they could break you down, get you to lash out, to lose control, to show them how much you hurt. But they don't realize that your silence is the strongest response they could have ever received. You didn't give them the satisfaction of seeing you suffer. You didn't give them the pleasure of watching you lose your composure. You took back the power they thought they had over you, and the more they pushed, the more you withdrew. They couldn't handle it, could they? The silence, the way you turned away from them, the way you no longer cared about their approval, their judgment, or their manipulation. That's what hurt them the most. Realizing that you were no longer affected by them, they thought they could control your reactions, but in your silence, they found that they had no control over you at all. In the silence, you become untouchable. You become an enigma, a person who cannot be broken, because they no longer have the ability to wound you with words. They cannot trigger you because they don't know what will make you react anymore. Their insults bounce off of you. Their attacks have no place to land because you are no longer playing their game. You have risen above it, risen above the need to explain yourself, to defend your honor, to get angry. You understand that not every battle is worth fighting, that some fights are simply distractions meant to draw you into their chaos, and you refuse to engage with it. You don't need to. You've grown beyond that, and so you continue forward in silence. They expect you to retaliate, to prove something to them, to show them that you're still capable of fighting. But the truth is, you've already won. You don't need to fight anymore. The mere act of walking away, of not responding, of choosing peace over drama, is the ultimate victory. You are no longer at their mercy, no longer tied to their expectations. Your silence speaks volumes, but it is not for their benefit. It is for you. It is for your peace, your healing, and your evolution. When you stop engaging with their disrespect, something miraculous happens. You begin to heal. You begin to reclaim the parts of yourself that they tried to steal. You reclaim your self-worth, your dignity, your strength. You no longer allow others to define you or make you question your value. You no longer let their negativity invade your space. You become a fortress of peace and self-respect, standing tall in the face of any storm. Because you know that nothing they say can touch you unless you allow it to, and you no longer choose to allow it. But they will never understand that. They will never realize the depth of your silence. They will never grasp that your silence is the ultimate act of strength. In their eyes, silence may seem like surrender. It may seem like weakness. But in truth, it is the most powerful tool you possess. It is the tool that allows you to take control of your emotions, to distance yourself from their negativity, and to rise above their attempts to break you. The silence is a gift that you give yourself. It is the space you create to heal from the wounds they inflicted. It is the sanctuary where you can restore your energy, rebuild your confidence, and reclaim your sense of self. The more you choose silence over conflict, the more you reinforce your own boundaries, your own worth. You send a message to the universe, to the people around you, that you are not here to play small. You are not here to engage in their drama, in their games, in their disrespect. You are here to live your life with integrity, with dignity, and with a quiet, unwavering strength that cannot be shaken by the opinions of others. The beauty of silence is that it allows you to take control of your narrative. When they try to make you feel less than, when they try to define you by their own insecurities, your silence becomes your shield. You no longer need to explain yourself. You no longer need to prove anything to them. The fact that you have chosen silence is the most powerful thing you could ever do. It is your final word. It is your way of saying, I don't need your validation. I don't need your approval. I know who I am, and I am enough. And while they may wonder, while they may try to provoke you again and again, they will never understand that in silence, you have found something more powerful than any argument or any confrontation could ever give you. You have found peace. You have found strength. You have found your own voice. And it is not the voice that shouts, that fights, that engages in petty games. It is the voice that stands strong in silence, unshaken by the noise of the world around you. But don't think for a moment that this silence means you are weak. Do not mistake it for submission. It is not weakness to refuse to engage with those who would tear you down. It is not weakness to protect your peace. It is not weakness to distance yourself from toxic people who only seek to drain your energy. In fact, it takes incredible strength to choose silence over conflict, to choose healing over bitterness, to choose peace over chaos. It takes strength to walk away from those who try to hurt you, to let go of the people who would bring you down. And it takes even more strength to hold your head high, to stand tall, to keep moving forward, while they remain stuck in their own drama, their own negativity, and their own need for control. They may never realize the true consequences of disrespecting you. They may never understand that every word, every insult, every attempt to diminish you has only made you stronger. They may continue to wonder why you don't react, why you no longer engage with their games. But that is not for you to answer. That is not for you to explain. The silence speaks for itself. It says everything they need to know, but they will never fully grasp it. They will never understand that in trying to break you, they have only made you unbreakable. And as you continue on your journey, let the silence guide you. Let it be the reminder that you are in control. Let it be the force that keeps you grounded in your truth. Let it be the powerful message that you no longer need to fight for your worth. You have already proven it to yourself. And that, my friends, is the greatest victory of all. In conclusion, when they disrespected you, they thought they were winning. They thought they could break you, diminish you, and make you feel less than. But what they failed to realize is that their disrespect was the catalyst for your transformation. It pushed you into a space of silence, a space where you could reclaim your strength, your peace, and your sense of self. And in that silence, you found your power. And in that power, you have become unstoppable. Let them wonder. Let them question. You no longer need to explain. Your silence is your answer. And in that answer, you have already won. The moment they saw you, something ancient inside them shifted, not fear, not anger, but recognition, a quiet, undeniable knowing that the room no longer belonged to the noise. It belonged to the presence. You did not announce yourself. You did not raise your voice. You did not rush to be seen. Yet, every instinct in them whispered the same name, the same memory, the same warning. This one is different. This one has been forged, not gifted. This one has walked through fire without asking for applause and came back carrying silence like a weapon. You were never loud yet. The world leaned closer when you arrived because power does not scream. Power arrives and everything else adjusts. Before we go any further, listen to me for one heartbeat. If this message is hitting somewhere deep, if it feels like it is speaking to the version of you that nobody clapped for, then take a second and support this movement. Like this, share this with someone who needs strength, more than comfort, and leave a comment not for me, but for yourself, as a promise that you are still here, still standing, still building. Because every time you engage, you are not feeding an algorithm. You are declaring that your story is not finished yet. They did not see your beginning. They did not see the nights where doubt sat beside you like a shadow that would not leave. They did not hear the quiet conversations you had with the ceiling, asking how much longer you could carry this weight. They only see the calm now, and they mistake it for ease. They see the control and assume it was given to you. They see the discipline and think it came naturally. But what they do not see is that every step you took was paid for in sacrifice. You became this by losing things you never talk about, by letting go of versions of yourself that were comfortable but weak, by choosing growth when it felt like isolation. There was a time when your name meant nothing, when rooms did not pause, when opinions dismissed you before you finished speaking, and that silence taught you something valuable. It taught you how to listen, how to observe, how to sharpen yourself without an audience. You learned patience, not because it was peaceful, but because it was necessary. You learned restraint, not because you lacked emotion, but because you mastered it. And now, when you enter spaces, the shift they feel is the echo of all the moments you did not quit. They realize it all at once, not because you threaten them, but because you remind them of something. They avoided the potential. They abandoned the discipline. They delayed the courage. They kept saying tomorrow to you are a mirror. And mirrors make people uncomfortable because they tell the truth without speaking. You do not need to dominate to be dominant. You do not need to attack to be respected. Your presence alone carries the weight of your choices. You were built in pressure, shaped by resistance, refined by repetition. Every setback became training. Every loss became information. Every betrayal became clarity. You stopped asking why me and started asking what now. And that shift changed everything. Because the world does not respond to complaints. It responds to commitment. You committed to becoming undeniable even when nobody was watching. When they say, oh, it is him, or it is her, what they are really saying is this is someone who cannot be controlled by opinion. This is someone who has already faced their worst days and survived. This is someone who does not need permission to exist at full capacity. And that realization hits hard because it means the excuses around you just lost their power. You move differently now, not rushed, not desperate, not hungry for validation. You are focused, and focus is dangerous to a distracted world. You do not chase attention. You build gravity, and gravity pulls everything into alignment. Opportunities respect momentum. They come to you because you did the work in silence, and silence always collects interest. There were moments you wanted to be understood, moments you wanted someone to notice how hard you were trying. But understanding is not required for greatness. Solitude is not a punishment. It is a forge, and you stayed in it long enough to be transformed. You learned that loneliness can either break you or build you, and you chose to build. Now, when you speak, your words land heavier, not because they are louder, but because they are backed by action. People listen because they sense consistency. They sense integrity. They sense that you are not performing. You are expressing years of discipline compressed into calm confidence. Do not be fooled, though. This is not the end. This recognition is not the destination. It is merely confirmation that the path you chose was real. Keep going. Stay sharp. Stay humble. Stay relentless. Because the moment you start feeding the applause instead of the purpose, you lose the edge that brought you here. Remember this. They did not suddenly realize who you are. You have been this the whole time. They are just catching up, and some never will. And that is fine. Your job is not to convince. Your job is to continue becoming stronger, clearer, more disciplined than yesterday. So walk into every room with the same quiet certainty. Carry your past without bitterness. Carry your future without arrogance. And carry yourself with the kind of self-respect that needs no explanation. Because the truth is simple when they saw you. Every instinct screamed the same name. Not because you arrived, but because you endured. And endurance always announces itself without a sound. You kept walking even after that moment, even after the recognition, even after the shift in the air. Because you know something most people never learn. Awareness is not arrival. Attention is not achievement. And being noticed is not the same as being ready. You did not slow down. You did not soften your edge. You did not suddenly seek approval, because you understand that the real work begins after the world starts watching. You learned early that strength is quiet, not because it is weak, but because it is certain. Uncertainty makes noise, Insecurity demands validation, but certainty moves in silence, and you carry certainty now. Not the kind that brags, but the kind that stands firm when pressure rises. The kind that does not flinch when tested, because it has already been tested alone. There are still days when the weight returns, when memories knock, when fatigue tries to convince you that you have done enough. But you recognize that voice now. You know, it is not truth, it is resistance, and resistance only appears when growth is happening. So you breathe, you reset, and you move forward again. Not dramatically, not emotionally, just deliberately. People assume you are fearless, but fear still exists. You just no longer obey it. You let it speak. You acknowledge it, and then you decide. Anyway, that is courage, not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let it decide who you become. You train that muscle through repetition, through showing up on days when motivation was nowhere to be found. You stopped measuring yourself by other people's timelines because comparison drains energy you need for creation. You realize that everyone is running a different race with different burdens and different starting lines. So you focused inward. You built standards instead of chasing applause. You became accountable to your own word, and that changed how you see yourself. Now, when challenges appear, you do not panic. You analyze. You do not complain. You adapt. You do not fold. You adjust and continue because you understand that obstacles are not interruptions. They are invitations to level up. Every problem carries instruction. If you are disciplined enough to listen, some will misunderstand your distance, your boundaries, your refusal to explain everything. They will call it cold or prideful, but it is neither. It is protection. You learn the hard way that access must be earned, not given, and energy must be guarded, not wasted. You cannot build something meaningful while constantly defending your focus. You are not driven by revenge. You are driven by vision. Not to prove others wrong, but to prove yourself right, to become the person you promised yourself you would be when nobody else believed it. And that promise still matters to you more than praise, more than comfort, more than shortcuts. There will be moments ahead where the pressure increases, where expectations rise, where eyes stay on you longer than before. And in those moments, remember who you were before they noticed. Remember the discipline you built when nobody cared. Remember the resilience you earned when quitting would have been easier, because that version of you is the foundation of everything you are becoming. Do not let success distract you from growth. Do not let recognition weaken your routine. Stay grounded. Stay consistent. Stay hungry for improvement, not for approval, because the world respects those who respect their own process. And if at any point you feel tired, pause, but do not retreat. Rest, but do not surrender. You did not come this far to stop when it finally got heavy. You came this far because you can carry more than you think. So keep moving with that calm intensity. Let your actions continue to speak before your words. Let your discipline remain louder than your doubts, and let your presence continue to remind every room, without aggression, without noise, without explanation, that you are not here by chance. You are here because you endured, and endurance changes everything. And understand this, the deeper you go, the quieter it gets. Fewer voices, fewer hands, fewer people who truly understand what it costs to keep choosing the hard path. And that silence is not emptiness, it is elevation. Only those willing to lose company can gain clarity. Only those willing to stand alone can learn who they really are. You stopped fearing that silence because you discovered it was where your strength spoke the clearest. You began to see patterns in people and situations in yourself. You noticed how excuses repeat, how comfort disguises itself as logic, how fear dresses up as responsibility. And once you see those patterns, you cannot unsee them. That awareness separated you from the crowd not by ego, but by understanding. You no longer needed chaos to feel alive, you needed purpose. There were seasons when progress was invisible, when effort did not translate into results, when discipline felt unrewarded, and those were the seasons that mattered most, because they taught you how to move without reassurance, how to trust the process without proof, how to stay consistent without guarantees. Most people quit there, not because they are incapable, but because they demand certainty before commitment. You learn to commit without certainty, and that is rare. You stopped waiting to feel ready. You realized readiness is built in motion, not in thought. So you moved imperfectly, you learned publicly, you failed quietly, and you adjusted constantly. That momentum compounded over time until what once felt impossible became routine, and what once scared you became familiar. Now, when pressure comes, you do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because you know, life does not test without reason. It refines, it reveals. It removes what cannot survive the next level. And you have learned to let go without resentment, because not everything is meant to come with you. People might try to define you by one moment, one win, one loss. But you are not a moment. You are a pattern of showing up, a pattern of discipline, a pattern of growth. And patterns are harder to dismiss because they prove consistency over time. There is a gravity to you now, a steadiness that does not rush to respond or react. You choose your battles carefully. You choose your words thoughtfully because you understand that energy spent carelessly cannot be recovered, and your energy is valuable. It fuels the future you are building. You also learned humility, not the kind that shrinks, but the kind that grounds you. You know how far you have come and how far you still have to go. You respect the journey enough to keep learning, to keep listening, to keep improving, because complacency is the enemy of progress. And yes, there will be people who only notice you when you are useful, who celebrate you when you are winning, and question you when you are quiet. Let them. That behavior says more about their limits than your value. You do not need to be constantly visible to be constantly evolving. When doubt tries to return, remind yourself of the nights you did not quit, the mornings you showed up heavy but determined, the habits you built when motivation was absent. Those memories are evidence, not emotion. Evidence that you are capable of more than your mind sometimes admits. This path you are on, it is not for everyone, and that is why it works. The isolation, the discipline, the delayed gratification, they filter out those who want outcomes without effort and leave only those willing to earn every step. You stayed when others left you, pushed when others paused. You believed when others settled. So continue forward, not aggressively, not anxiously, but deliberately. Let time work in your favor. Let consistency compound. Let your character speak louder than your achievements. Because in the end, respect lasts longer than attention, and legacy is built in what you do repeatedly, not what you announce once. And when they see you again, when the realization hits even deeper, when the silence follows your presence, understand that it is not intimidation they feel. It is truth. They are witnessing someone who chose the hard road and stayed on it long enough to be transformed. And that kind of transformation cannot be faked, rushed, or borrowed. Keep becoming, keep sharpening, keep honoring the discipline that brought you here. Because the moment they saw you, every instinct screamed the same name. Not because you demanded it, but because you earned it through patience, resilience, and an unbreakable commitment to becoming who you were always capable of being. There is a point on this road where effort turns into identity, where discipline is no longer something you force, but something you are. And that is when everything changes. You no longer wake up asking if you should do the work. You wake up knowing it will be done, no matter how you feel, no matter who is watching, no matter what yesterday took from you, because you stop negotiating with weakness. You understand now that confidence is not loud. It is settled. It does not rush to prove itself. It does not argue with doubt. It simply keeps moving. And that calm, forward motion unsettles people more than noise ever could, because it shows them what consistency looks like when it is fully embodied. You have seen how quickly the world changes, how applause comes and goes, how attention shifts to the next distraction. And because of that, you no longer anchor your worth to reactions. You anchor it to standards. You hold yourself to a level that does not depend on mood or praise, and that internal structure keeps you stable when everything else is unstable. There were lessons you learned the hard way, lessons about trust, about patience, about timing, about restraint, and even though they cost you something, you would not trade them back because they shaped your judgment. They sharpened your awareness. They taught you how to move smarter, not harder, and how to protect what you are building. You now see setbacks differently, not as signs to stop, but as signals to refine, to slow down, just enough to adjust your angle and then continue forward stronger than before. You stopped taking things personally and started taking responsibility, and that shift alone separated you from most people. The more you grow, the more selective you become with your time, your words, your energy, not out of arrogance, but out of respect for the process. You know that everything you give attention to grows, and you choose to feed what moves you forward, not what pulls you back. There will be moments when old versions of yourself try to return, when comfort whispers that you have done enough, that you deserve to ease up. And in those moments, you remember why you started, not out of anger, not out of desperation, but out of a deep desire to become more capable, more disciplined, more aligned with your potential. You no longer chase intensity, you chase consistency, because you learned that intensity fades, but consistency transforms. And transformation is what people feel when you walk into a room. It is not about dominance. It is about depth. Not about presence alone, but about the work behind that presence. Some people will never understand you because understanding requires experience and they have not walked your path. That is not your burden. You are not here to be relatable to everyone. You are here to be real with yourself, and that authenticity carries its own weight. As time moves forward, you will notice something subtle. Opportunities will appear without force. Respect will be given without request, and influence will grow without announcement. Not because you demanded it, but because your actions aligned long enough to earn it. Never forget where this came from. The quiet mornings, the disciplined nights, the choices that no one celebrated, the sacrifices that no one clapped. For those moments are the foundation, and foundations must be remembered, or the structure weakens. So keep your routine strong, keep your values clear, keep your vision alive, even on days when progress feels slow, because slow progress still moves forward, and forward is all that matters. And when the moment comes again, when eyes shift, when the room goes still, when that unspoken realization spreads, understand it is not about fear or comparison. It is about recognition. They are witnessing someone who stayed committed long enough to become undeniable. You are not finished. You are not complete. You are still building, and that is exactly why this matters. Growth does not end when people notice it. Ends when you stop showing up, and you have not stopped. So continue with that quiet resolve. Let your journey keep speaking for you. Let your discipline remain your signature. And let every step forward reinforce the truth that the moment they saw you, every instinct reacted not to noise, not to image, but to substance built over time through patience, effort, and an unshakable commitment to becoming more than you were yesterday. And somewhere along this path you realize something that changed the way you move forever. No one is coming to save you. No perfect moment, no perfect support, no perfect timing. And instead of breaking you, that truth freed you. Because once you stopped waiting, you started building. Once you stopped hoping, you started creating. Once you stopped asking, you started deciding. And decision is where power actually lives. You learn to carry responsibility without resentment, to hold yourself accountable without self-hate, to demand more from yourself without destroying yourself. That balance took time. It took mistakes. It took reflection. But now it is part of you, and it shows in how you stand, how you speak, how you act. When things do not go your way, you stopped explaining your grind to people who only understand comfort. You stopped shrinking your vision to make others feel included. You stopped apologizing for your ambition because you realized that wanting more from life does not make you greedy. It makes you honest about your capacity, honest about your potential, honest about the fact that you were not built to settle. There were days when progress felt invisible, when you questioned if any of this mattered, if the sacrifices were worth it, if the isolation was permanent. And in those moments, you chose faith, not blind faith, but earned faith, faith built from showing up again and again, even when the results lagged behind the effort. That kind of faith does not come from words. It comes from action. You learned how to sit with discomfort without running from it, how to stay focused when distractions were louder than discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, they thought they were upgrading, didn't they? They had the gold shining bright in its purity, steady in its value, yet they discarded it for something that glittered for a moment, but dulled with time plastic. The world has become obsessed with the illusion of progress. The false promises of convenience and the appeal of instant gratification have led many to believe that the things that once held true value were nothing more than burdens of the past, something to be discarded for the new and shiny. They thought they were making a smarter choice, but in the end, they traded away what was real for what was fake. They traded the everlasting strength of gold for the fleeting illusion of plastic, and now they drown in their regret, not realizing that the foundation they stood on was crumbling beneath their feet as they grasped at the air. Gold has always been a symbol of truth. It has been a constant in a world that constantly changes. Its value is timeless, its strength unmatched, its worth undeniable. Yet many have allowed themselves to be blinded by the glare of something that shines only briefly. They were deceived by the smooth and light surface of plastic thinking. It was the answer to everything they thought it would make life easier. They believed it would bring them closer to the future, closer to a world that was more efficient and more manageable. Yet what they didn't understand was that the future isn't built on the false promises of the quick and the shallow. The future is built on the foundations of the things that have stood the test of time, the things that don't bend or break when the world around them does not, when the tides of change come crashing in. The world has tried to convince them that plastic was the way forward, but now they see the truth. The plastic fades, it weakens, and eventually it breaks down, leaving nothing of substance behind. When they first discarded the gold, they thought they were making progress. They thought they were stepping into a new age, an age where the rules were different, where the old ways no longer applied. But in their haste to throw away what had been established, what had stood for centuries, they failed to realize that the new had no real foundation to stand on. Plastic is a fleeting material. It's easy to mass produce. It's cheap. It's abundant. And for a time it was seen as the solution to every problem. But now, as they look around, they see that it was nothing more than a temporary fix, a quick replacement for something that could never be replaced. Gold was the foundation of many civilizations, the backbone of economies, and the standard by which everything else was measured. And yet, they traded it away for something that offered no real value, no real substance to hold on to. The mistake was in thinking that the future would be kind to them, that somehow the new would be better, without understanding the true cost of discarding the old. They traded away their principles, their integrity, and their sense of purpose for something that could be molded and shaped to look like anything they wanted it to look like. They sacrificed their roots for the sake of a future they couldn't even imagine. They became blind to the fact that true progress comes from building on what has come before, not in trying to tear it down in pursuit of a mirage. They looked at gold and saw it as outdated. They looked at plastic and saw it as the future, but now they see what they've lost and what they have left. What they failed to understand is that plastic was never meant to replace gold. It was never meant to take the place of something that was true and lasting. Plastic was only ever a temporary solution, something that served a purpose for a time, but was never meant to endure. Gold has always been the symbol of resilience, its worth, not only in its material value, but in the way it has been passed down through generations. Gold represents something that lasts, something that endures in the face of time's harshest trials. And yet they threw it away for something that promised convenience, but offered nothing of substance. They thought they were upgrading. They thought they were moving forward, but all they did was trade something that had real worth for something that could never truly stand the test of time. In the end, it is not the plastic that will carry them forward. It is the gold, the true value, the unshakable foundation of their beliefs and their integrity that will determine their future. The future is not built on what is easy or convenient. It is built on what is real, on what can withstand the trials of time, on what can be passed down from one generation to the next. What is built on plastic will crumble. What is built on gold will endure. And they have a choice. They can keep looking at the wreckage of their decisions and allow the regret to consume them, or they can choose to rise above it. They can choose to rebuild with the knowledge that their strength lies, not in the fleeting promises of the world around them, but in the unshakable foundations of what truly matters. The gold they discarded may never come back, but they can choose to bring back its value. They can choose to rebuild their lives, their societies, their futures on the principles that once made them strong, on the understanding that true progress is not about the newest or the shiniest. It is about the things that have been tested over time, the things that hold real value, and the things that are worth fighting for. They can choose to reject the plastic that surrounds them and instead return to the gold they once knew. They can choose to remember what they threw away and understand the price of their mistake. It is not too late, but it will only happen if they choose to change, if they choose to see the truth and act upon it. So let them drown in their regret. Let them face the consequences of their actions, but let them also learn from it. Let them understand that the choices they make today will echo for generations to come, and that the things they discard may never return. And in that realization, let them find the strength to rise again and rebuild on the foundations that have always been true. The gold is waiting for them to come back to it. It is waiting for them to recognize its worth and its value. It is waiting for them to stop chasing after the empty promises of plastic. and start building a future that is grounded in what truly matters. Ladies and gentlemen, is not the shiny objects that reflect only fleeting glimpses of what we hope to attain. It's not the superficial allure of things that glitter but wither under the weight of time. What truly matters are the things that stand the test of time, the things that endure through every storm, every hardship, every trial of human existence. It's the quiet but unshakable foundation, the principles and values that guide us, that hold us together, and that keep us strong when everything else is falling apart. We live in a world that constantly tells us to seek the new, the better, the faster. We are told that innovation is everything, and that progress means discarding the old in favor of the new. And for a while, it seems true. After all, when a shiny new thing is offered to us, it's hard to ignore. It promises ease, it promises convenience, it promises a life of less struggle. But what we fail to realize is that innovation, progress, and convenience often come at a great cost, one that we may not see until it's too late. What truly matters is not found in the new, not in the plastic that was meant to replace the gold, but in the principles that have stood since the beginning of time. What matters is our integrity, our ability to remain steadfast, our courage to do what is right, even when it is hard, and our willingness to embrace the value of what is real, not what is flashy. When we cast aside these things in favor of something new, something trendy, we discard the very elements that have allowed us to thrive, to grow, and to endure. Consider the gold, the symbol of true value, strength, and purity. For centuries, civilizations have understood the worth of gold. It has been the measure of wealth, the standard of economies, and the symbol of what is precious. Gold doesn't fade. Gold doesn't lose its luster. Even after centuries of being buried deep in the earth, it retains its value. In a world full of impermanence, gold remains constant. It is the embodiment of stability, and when everything else collapses, gold is there, enduring, standing tall in its truth. But somewhere along the way, in our rush to keep up with the changing world, we began to overlook what gold represents. We started to see it as unnecessary, cumbersome, a relic of an older time, something we no longer needed. We turned to plastic, something lighter, something that promised more convenience, something that was easier to produce, cheaper to manufacture, and seemingly more efficient. It promised that we could have everything we wanted in an instant without considering the long-term consequences. And so, we embraced the false promise. We traded gold for plastic, something that would never stand the test of time, something that would eventually deteriorate and leave behind nothing of value. We allowed the world to convince us that plastic was enough, that it was the future. But now, as the dust settles and we look at the mess we've created, we realize how deeply mistaken we were. Plastic was never the answer. It was the temporary fix, the illusion that everything could be made easy and quick without thinking about the cost. It is the choice of convenience over substance. And now, we must face the fallout of that decision. In the aftermath, what truly matters is clear. What matters is the recognition that we cannot live in a world built on the illusion of plastic. We cannot build a future on things that were never meant to endure. The moment we traded our gold for plastic, we turned our backs on what was real, what was valuable, what could last. And now we are left to pick up the pieces, to rebuild, and to rediscover what we have lost. So, what is the way forward? How do we reclaim what we threw away? How do we rise from the ashes of our decisions and rebuild on the firm ground of what truly matters? The answer is not to continue down the same path, hoping that somehow this time will be different. The answer is not to keep searching for the next quick fix or the next shiny object that promises everything we want without the sacrifice. The answer lies in a return to the things that matter the most, the things that have always been with us and always will be. First, we must understand the importance of resilience. Gold, after all, is not just valuable because of its physical properties, but because of its ability to endure. Resilience is the ability to withstand adversity, to stand firm in the face of challenges, and to rise again after each fall. In a world that prizes speed and convenience, resilience is the one thing we must learn to value again. We must embrace the challenges, the struggles, and the hardships, knowing that they are not the end, but rather the beginning of growth. We must recognize that the true strength of any person, any society, any civilization lies not in how easily they can avoid struggle, but in how they rise above it. Secondly, we must rediscover our sense of integrity. Integrity is what keeps us grounded, what ensures that we do not bend or break when faced with temptation, when the world tries to push us away from what we know is right. When we traded gold for plastic, we gave up our integrity in favor of convenience. We must find our way back to the principles that have always guided us, the values that keep us aligned with our true purpose. These are not the principles that change with the seasons or with trends. These are the eternal values of honesty, honor, and courage. These are the values that shape the very core of who we are. Next, we must return to the understanding that what truly matters is not the fast or the easy, but the things that take time, that require effort, that are built over time. The best things in life are not instant. They are not quick fixes. They are the things that take patience, perseverance, and dedication. We must return to the idea of long-term vision, of seeing beyond the immediate rewards and looking at what we are building for the future. The quick wins of plastic will never compare to the lasting value of what is built with gold. And finally, we must learn to value the intangible things, the things that cannot be touched or measured, but that are the true foundations of a meaningful life. These are the things that go beyond material wealth, beyond external appearances, beyond fleeting desires. They are the things that bring purpose and meaning to our lives: love, connection, community, and the desire to do good in the world. These are the things that give our lives depth and make everything else worthwhile. They are the things that remain long after the plastic has faded and the gold has long since been buried. They are the true treasures of life. In reclaiming these values, in returning to what truly matters, we will find our way back to the gold we once discarded. The gold is not lost forever. It is waiting for us to remember its worth, to realize that it is what can carry us forward. The world may try to distract us with plastic, but we must see beyond the surface and recognize the true value of what endured. When we turn back to gold, we turn back to the things that are real, that are lasting, and that are worth holding on to. So, let us stop chasing after the empty promises of plastic. Let us stop believing that we can have everything we want without sacrifice. Let us stop living in the illusion that convenience is the answer to all our problems. Let us instead embrace the hard work, the struggle, the effort, and the dedication it takes to build something that lasts. Let us rediscover what truly matters: the gold of our values, the gold of our integrity, the gold of our resilience, and the gold of our love and purpose. In this way, we will not only reclaim what we lost, but we will build something stronger, something more meaningful than anything we could have ever imagined. And when the world looks back on what we have created, they will see that we did not build it on plastic, on illusion, or on the empty promises of the moment. We built it on gold, on the things that truly matter, the things that endure, and the things that will never fade. These are the pillars of human existence that withstand the erosion of time, the values we nurture, the integrity we protect, the resilience we embrace, the love we cultivate. They are the things that give our lives meaning, that make our struggles worthwhile, and that leave behind legacies far more precious than any fleeting material possession. These are the things that transcend the temporary, the things that persist in a world that is constantly changing, in a world that often seems to prioritize the quick, the easy, and the shallow over the deep, the lasting, and the profound. In a society obsessed with the next new thing, with the next fad or trend, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We become caught up in the race for more possessions, more recognition, more success, more convenience. We are told that these things will bring us happiness, fulfillment, and satisfaction. But the reality is that they only bring us emptiness. For the truth is, the things that truly matter are not the things that can be bought, sold, or measured by wealth. They cannot be acquired through shortcuts or instant gratification. These things are built slowly, carefully, and with purpose over time. They are cultivated through dedication, patience, and sacrifice. And when we invest ourselves in them, when we give them the attention and care they deserve, they become the very foundation of our existence. Let us take a moment to understand why these things that truly matter will never fade. They don't fade because they are not bound by the limitations of time and trends. They endure because they are rooted in something eternal, something that transcends the material and the transient. Love, for instance, is not something that fades with age, nor does it wither when circumstances change. Love is a force that, when truly given, only grows stronger with time. It is the bond that connects us to others, the thing that keeps us grounded, that gives us purpose and meaning. In a world where relationships are often seen as disposable, where love is often taken for granted, we must remember that love, when nurtured and cared for, does not fade. It endures. Consider also the value of integrity. Integrity is not something that can be seen or touched, but it is the foundation on which our character is built. It is the unwavering commitment to doing what is right, even when no one is watching. Integrity does not change with the winds of popular opinion. It does not bend when the pressure of society tells us to take shortcuts, to compromise, or to abandon our principles for the sake of convenience. Integrity remains steadfast and unyielding because it is grounded in something deeper than the surface of the world around us. It is grounded in a sense of self-respect and a commitment to living authentically. Integrity will never fade because it is the anchor that holds us firm in the midst of life's storms. Resilience is another quality that will never fade because it is a reflection of the human spirit's incredible capacity to adapt, to overcome, and to rise again. Resilience does not depend on the external circumstances we face. It is not determined by the challenges or setbacks we encounter. It is a force within us that enables us to face adversity with strength and grace. Resilience grows in the face of difficulty. It is born from hardship and nurtured through struggle. When we are knocked down, resilience is what helps us rise again. And when we stand up, we do not stand up weaker than before. We stand up stronger, more determined, and more capable of facing whatever comes next. Resilience does not fade because it is the very essence of our ability to survive and thrive, to push forward in the face of uncertainty and doubt. And then there is the pursuit of purpose. This is perhaps one of the most enduring aspects of the human experience. The quest for meaning in a world that often seems chaotic and indifferent. We are not born to simply exist. We are born with a drive to create, to contribute, and to leave something behind that matters. When we live with purpose, when we dedicate ourselves to something greater than ourselves, we tap into a source of strength and motivation that cannot be taken away. Purpose is what fuels us when the world seems dark. It is what helps us push through the hardest of times, knowing that we are working towards something that matters. And purpose does not fade, because it is the guiding light that directs us through the storm. Now, more than ever, we must hold tight to these things that will never fade. As we live in an age where plastic, in its many forms, dominates every corner of our lives, we must remember that the true treasures of life are not found in the latest technological gadget, the newest fashion, or the temporary pleasures that come and go. These things will eventually lose their shine, their luster will fade, and they will be replaced by something newer, something shinier, something that promises even more. But the things that truly matter, love, integrity, resilience, purpose, are the things that will never be replaced. They are the things that, when cultivated, will continue to enrich our lives long after the plastic has fallen apart. We are living in a time when instant gratification is the norm, where the next big thing is just around the corner, and where everything is disposable. But this culture of disposability does not lead to fulfillment. It leads to emptiness. It leads to regret. It leads to a society that feels increasingly disconnected, increasingly shallow, and increasingly lost. We have to stop chasing after the illusion of progress, the idea that newer is always better, and we have to return to the core of what truly matters. When we do this, we will find that there is nothing more rewarding, more fulfilling, and more enduring than living a life rooted in love, integrity, resilience, and purpose. But how do we begin to reclaim these things? How do we rebuild our lives on the gold that will never fade when the world around us is obsessed with plastic? The first step is to stop looking outside ourselves for fulfillment. We must stop seeking validation in things that are fleeting. We must stop letting the world define our worth based on our possessions, our status, or our appearances. These are all fleeting, and they will eventually disappoint us. Instead, we must look within. We must rediscover the core values that lie within us, the values that have always been there, waiting for us to remember. We must also begin to make conscious choices to live with intention. We must choose to spend our time, energy, and resources on the things that matter most. This means investing in our relationships, nurturing our personal growth, and dedicating ourselves to causes that align with our values. It means taking a stand for what is right, even when it's hard, and staying true to our principles, even when the world tries to tempt us to compromise. It means finding joy in the journey, not just in the destination, and understanding that the process of building something meaningful is just as important as the end result. And perhaps most importantly, we must be patient. The things that truly matter take time. They are not built overnight. They require dedication, persistence, and the willingness to endure hardship for the sake of something greater. But if we are willing to put in the work, if we are willing to commit ourselves to the long road, we will find that the rewards are far greater than anything plastic can ever offer. The things that will never fade are the things that endure, that grow stronger with time, and that become more precious the more we invest in them. In the end, the question we must ask ourselves is not whether we are winning or losing in the race for success or material wealth. The question is whether we are living a life that truly matters. Are we building something that will endure, something that will continue to give long after we are gone? Are we investing in the things that truly matter, things that cannot be bought, things that cannot be measured by any standard other than the depth of their impact on our lives and the lives of others? The choice is ours. We can continue to chase after the glittering plastic, the things that promise us everything and deliver nothing. Or we can choose to invest in the things that will never fade, things that are real, things that matter, and things that will continue to enrich our lives for generations to come. In the end, the true measure of a life well lived is not how much we accumulate, but how deeply we have loved, how steadfastly we have held to our values, and how much we have contributed to the betterment of the world around us. And as we embark on this journey, let us remember that what truly matters is not just what we give to the world, but what the world gives back to us. Because when we build our lives on the things that never fade, we build a future that is not only brighter, but also more meaningful, more enduring, and more impactful than we could ever imagine. Let us choose to invest in what lasts, for in the end, it is the gold that will never fade that will carry us forward and light the way for those who follow. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the path we choose today will shape the world we inherit tomorrow. The illusions of the moment, the glittering promises of quick fixes and easy rewards may captivate us for a time, but they are nothing more than passing distractions. The true wealth of our lives, the things that will endure long after the plastic has crumbled, lies in the values that we cultivate: love, integrity, resilience, and purpose. These are the treasures that cannot be measured by the fleeting standards of material success, but by the lasting impact they have on our hearts and on the world around us. We must recognize that the things that truly matter are often not the easiest to attain, nor the most immediately gratifying, but they are the ones that shape us into the people we are meant to become. They are the foundation of a life well lived, a life that contributes to the greater good and leaves behind a legacy far richer than any superficial success. The gold of our character, our principles, and our relationships will always shine brighter than the empty allure of plastic. It is time to stop chasing the fleeting, to stop sacrificing what is real for what is convenient. It is time to reclaim the gold we once discarded and build our lives upon a foundation that will not fade. We must remember that the things that endure, the things that are truly valuable, are often the ones that take time, dedication, and effort to cultivate. But in the end, they are the ones that will never fail us. They will remain steady, unshaken by the storms of life, and will carry us through the toughest of times. So, let us make the choice today to invest in what matters most. Let us choose to live with purpose, with integrity, with love, and with resilience. Let us choose to build lives that will stand the test of time, lives that will inspire others and leave a lasting imprint on the world. The gold that we have within us, the gold of our values, our principles, and our hearts, is worth far more than any fleeting pleasure or material possession. Let us hold on to that gold, and in doing so, create a future that is not only brighter, but richer in every sense of the word. We are the creators of our legacy, and the gold we choose to live by today will be the legacy we leave behind. It is never too late to turn back to what truly matters, to embrace the values that will never fade, and to build a life that stands as a testament to what is real, what is lasting, and what is truly valuable. Let us choose wisely, and let us build something that will endure, for the gold of our hearts, our actions, and our convictions will shine brighter than any plastic ever could.